everybody, this is James Diboe on Discovering, and we're just starting off season 3. We've just finished off season 2, went well. Season 1 went well. Now we've got a special guest in today who I should have had on season 1, but you know, people get busy and that, you know. Well, first let me introduce Michelle Walker.
Thank you, James. Oh, what a nice introduction. Oh, that's real sweet. And as we say, you know, everything is everything. The time comes when the time is right, you know, because we're all being busy. So thank you for inviting me. Honestly, I'm real lit to be here. And it's been a long time since me and you have sat down and had the reasoning.
Oh, so. Definitely. The ancestors are with us now on this one. And, you know, we go back in history anyway. And the Pan-African group, this is originally something you started off. I don't know how long ago it was, maybe 6, 7 years or something. I can't remember, but I remember being a member there. And we just clicked. You know, we clicked very well, and there was only small numbers of us. As
always,
but sometimes that's how it is, and then things eventually grow. So when we deal with a Pan-African perspective, where there was the idea of you to start a Pan-African group?
You know what it was? I always liked the fact that I've always been into my history and culture, even when I didn't know what was my history or nothing. Understand me? When I learned that what was my own history and heritage and how it made me feel, it was always about sharing stuff, because when you have reasonings with people, they're always like, wow, didn't know that. Yeah. And it was just trying to find a forum that we could actually share some of that, learn some more about ourselves again. And if I'm honest, find some of the woke and lit and cultural conscious people who were in this city. You know, I'm not saying that I don't love me people in the city. I love it. But I actually love when we love ourselves. You
That's
know,
right.
Pan-Africanism taught me how to love myself. You know, whether I learned it through Rasta and Marcus Garvey, or learning things through Umar and lectures like, you know, Paula Benner, when you used to do them conferences in Manchester. Oh, yeah. I used to go to those as well. So there was a little network of people, and a friend showed me African Liberation Day. So when you're actually around your people who love themselves, it's so lit, you're just so uplifted and
powerful.
It really is. So when you say the ancestors are with you, that was part of why I wanted to just have that little grouping for ourselves and just have that little outlet that we need. Because we need to talk sometimes, you know, James. And just to flag up, when you came in, you made this thing very real for us in the sense that we'd heard lectures like Runoko Rashidi, right? And he was in America. I'd been watching him for like 20 years and stuff. Yeah. And to watch you as a real brother who's in my community, from my area, doing what I call the same thing, and as the next generation, that really made me kind of like, wow, I'm proper. Yeah. And I didn't even know it. And it kind of made me feel good, because when you don't know what's going on, you kind of feel like you're in your own little bit personal pain, crappy bubble. You understand me? You feel like you're all kind of isolated, even though you've got people across the world and stuff. So when we saw you doing what you were doing, we were like, wow, this is real, and you've got your real own experience that you can share. That's right. And we can connect to again. Yeah. Even if it's not Runoko Rashidi, it doesn't have to be him. We can connect to you, and even as a real person.
That's right, that. Yeah. Well, funny enough you say that. I mean, Runoko Rashidi is a big inspiration. And it was funny how I came across Runoko Rashidi. I was just traveling, doing what I was doing, visiting indigenous peoples. And then looking through indigenous peoples, that's how I came across Runoko Rashidi. I wasn't actually specifically looking at African history. So when I came across him, I'm looking at all these places in the world on a global African perspective. And no one really talks this way. It was only really Marcus Garvey and people like that who were ahead of the time. So for me to connect, I'm always a curious person, and it's definitely something to bring to the Pan-African group. And I felt that, like, you know, it was a small group of us, but we all had things powerful that we were able to bring. I mean, essentially, your spirit as soon as we got there. And you can tell genuineness. And it wasn't about, like, well, because some people say, well, how come there's only so many of yous going? How come this place is not filled out? Where's the young people? Where's this?
You know what, James? I always speak of quality, not quantity. Yeah. And you can only ever put things out there, and you know, not everybody will always pick up themselves to come to some of the things on a Sunday because we'd rather do X, Y, and Z, whether that's frivolous things, leisure things. I'm not knocking anyone where the drive is. It's just trying to always galvanize things. So you can only ever put stuff out there and see who comes. And I'm grateful that, you know, even the people, those business owners who owned Marley's were a local business owner, black business, who gave us a space. So this connection of what you can build and collectively was really good to see, whether on a small level. Yeah. And you're very correct. correct. You know, one of the guys in there was Ital Fresh. You know, look what they went on to do, you know, with their food and stuff, and your art. I must give shout out to Katrina Roberts, who was also involved, and she worked with Unison to produce those information cards about know your rights and stuff. So,
I remember.
Yeah, and we gave a load of them out because we were still getting stopped in search and all these things, and you see what's happening now. So I always say, and I always believe that even though we all came into a nucleus like a hub, which I love and respect, when we went outside of that, we was like a ripple effect. What you share with people, for more the knowledge you share, goes out as a ripple effect.
That's right.
You know, so even if 2 different people dropped in one weekend, a different person, it didn't have to be massive numbers. We would always hope that they took that information and knowledge and that stance further, or just got enlightened. Yeah,
but you also see when, as time tells everything, I mean, you can see who's continuing, following consciousness. You know, it's not about being perfect. Like some people can say, well, if you smoke, you're not conscious. But, you know, we can all pick out our little things and different, you know, be petty about it. But, you know.
I don't mean to laugh. I laugh because I hear some of these things a lot.
That's it, you know. So rather than be judgmental, you know, we've all got our... You know, it's all about communicating and recognizing what is the main issue, what is the main thing for us that we should prioritize about our community.
You know what I see it as, James, is it's a lived experience. Everything about my African heritage and what you come to learn about your African self. Because, you know, people say, yeah, black is my color, and that's all good. You know, it's a skin color, but I'm an African. So I'm an African born in England. I'm African born in the UK to African Caribbean parents, so my parents are Jamaican.
Yeah.
But it's all African heritage goes with that and the Caribbean stance. Once you learn that about yourself, it's this thing like how Dr. Umar says, and other people unapologetically African.
Yeah,
I'm embodying that because I'm not. Even every year, I love me more and more when I learn all these things about me.
That's
and to walk in it. Even if people are trying to kill me and kill our spirit off the planet, I'm walking in it. I've actually started to get even more fierce now, you know, because I have to push back so hard on people's, you know, with this issue, whether it's my own black people who just don't have self-love.
Yeah.
And want to chip at your self-love. So the little thing about smoking, you're not Pan-African and you're not this. Pan-African means that we love ourselves as African people. We help African people wherever we're Africa and abroad, and we uplift African people. And we have to push back against like what we call white dominance. You used to call it supremacy, but we don't use that in too tough. With that white dominance of racism, and use all these facets of racism, discrimination, because this is how we uplift ourselves. You know, I spoke to a white English lady who clearly said to me one day, you know, about empowerment. Michelle, people don't give women empowerment. You take back your power. Now, she said everything that I said, but as a black stance, I understood it. But she understood it as a woman. We connected because she's clued up. Do you understand me?
Clued up,
So when I showed her what I mean as a black people, she goes, yeah, I get that, Michelle. You take your power. So I'm like, okay, clued up. People who are clued up, get it? I just happen to be an African and I'm clued up. So I'm like, yo, I'm walking in that. Sharing that information and showing that you can love yourself, be proud of yourself, and stop living in fear. We've lived in so much fear, people, a lot. As African peoples, now we're coming out of the fear. You know, sometimes when they get a bit scared and blah, 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 they have to, like you say, draw on the ancestors and go, oh, 2 sons, nanny, blah, blah, blah. See it on a serious level. Do you understand me? Because sometimes if I don't, I go back into that local, I don't know if I can say this, back into that coon mode. You know, this propaganda we have to break out about self-hate, good hair, and all these different things that we have, which are really about not loving your Africanness, because as a system of racism, to break it down, you've made people kind of hate who they are, put like a white ideal of dominance up as the best. And everyone's under that. And all it is, you got different paradigms. I don't have to be in this. You know, when I learned that, Christianity wasn't the only it wasn't the only so-called religion. You know, I'm not Hindu, so I didn't know about Hindu too tough or Buddhism. But when I learned that all these things come out of African spirituality, and I went, what?
That's powerful. That's powerful.
You know,
I mean,
go back to the source, man.
That's it, you know, and it made me this is the same thing we'll be talking about, the global African presence at the same time. And when I'm going to places like Cambodia and I'm seeing like the Bayon temples, then you've got the Olmecs in Mexico and all these artifacts, these structures, you can see they clearly look like Africans. And also you had a lot of Aboriginal blacks all through Asia and the Pacific in ancient times. You know, there's still some there. I've visited them, but they're in like rainforest and secluded areas. But these, even Robin Walker, when I was listening to him, he actually mentioned he was talking about the Etta in the Philippines, the same as they're part of African history too. It all fits in together, you know. And it's also, it's down to the mind, the African mind, which is very important. And I think that being born in Liverpool, not just England, because London has a bit more going on. Manchester has a bit more going on. Liverpool, this is going back to the conversation earlier when you said back in the day, it was all happening. And then I'm trying to get back to that kind of back in the day, even though when I might not have been born or I was young.
I hear you, James. I feel it.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, people love to quote this thing about Liverpool. Oh, the oldest black community in Europe. And I love Oscar House saying it, but it kind of offends my soul and my spirit to see people quote this line and do nothing to raise up their black community.
Yeah.
And I mean, as individuals, going to things, doing things, but you keep quoting this BS. You understand me? And when people come over from elsewhere across the world and they can't find the black community, they can't find black people, they can't find shops, culture, and all these things that we once had, James.
Yeah.
And yet I'm 49 and I don't care to say it. So I remember when I was a 7-year-old and coming up and remembering all these culture around me. You understand me? How we celebrated us. I remember walking with me afro. You understand me? And all these things. And I know times change, but we reflected in a different times. So when people are sitting here saying it, I'm tired of what I'm seeing in Liverpool because my generation who's 49 and the generation that came before me haven't done enough. We haven't given enough. Our parents have done. They built this. They built our people from Africa and the Caribbean. They built this city as a modern day with our black community. And you're right. If you go to Manchester, 35 miles down the road, or anywhere else, even some of the smallest like Leicester or Leeds there and stuff, they still have a nucleus of what they call a reflection of your black community. You understand me? And that's what we're missing. And it's for people who live in Liverpool who are of it to do that. Now, I've got a question about why you don't do it. People will get offended about it, and I don't really care if you want to get offended. This thing of gravitating to European culture and dashing your own.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people will say, I'll say to people, look, we're 80% a mixed culture here as a mixed heritage people. But if every person who's mixed heritage is going to go to white culture and not explore their own, if every black man or woman who's going to go to Europeans doesn't want to support their culture and practice it and all these things, language, activities, you just go to Africa once a year. I ain't with that BS.
Yeah.
I'm rampant love to hear me people, but we've got to live it. African experience is a live thing. Our culture, everything that we do, we walk it. Our hair, our style, everything we do. You see? Don't you see people trying to copy us, James? Look at the lips. I'm a black girl, man. You don't even know my accent, You'll think I sound Scouse. That's cool, because I'm born in Liverpool. I'm an African born in Liverpool. Yes, I'm a Scouser. Are you mad? Yes, I'm an African woman, Not born on the continent, but African is every in me. I'm a melanated person, so it's in my core. Now, it's the same thing. We live it, express it. Don't be scared, because what a white person's going to go, oh, look at your hair, and look at this, and do this. I still get that in Liverpool. Oh, your hair is lovely. You are walking in another city, they're used to seeing Afro pups and it ain't a thing.
It's just normal.
Yeah. And as white folks, you understand me, because they've used to have different communities and cultures. Here, it's still a thing. But if you think about this city being having ingrained institutional racism, the same city that supported the Confederates to keep us in chains, physically, financially, these are the same set of people and their descendants. It's no wonder that this city is the way it is. But going back to the black people, I'm not asking white people to do certain things. They're going to when we push for our power. Institutions, educational things like Dr. Jerry Augusto showed us. Your university should have black departments exploring your culture. Why aren't they? We're supposed to push for this thing, and it isn't a begging bowl. I've no illusion. We've already paid for this. You're supposed to. It's how the evolution goes. It isn't just, oh, sorry in a word. I'm just going back to the black people. It's for us to step up and do. So I don't care if you've got mixed heritage. I know what? Everyone's got different sorts of mixed heritage. It isn't just white heritage that's mixed. You understand me?
Could be anything, yeah.
Asian, right. Whatever you saw, Liverpool's, it's a port.
Yeah.
It's a port, it's a slave port. You understand me? So it's going to have all this duality. But it's about what do you do? So when you're crying about your culture, there's nothing, because you're not giving nothing back, you're not creating nothing. So if you forgot what it's like, go out into another city and see what people do. Every generation does something. They're used to doing their thing. The elders are doing their thing. People like us, like my middle age now, James, are doing our thing.
Yeah.
And everyone's doing something and loving ourselves. For some reason here, we don't. And I don't care, people. I'm going to say we don't. We don't have enough self-love as our African self-love. And here's the spin, James. Here's the spin. Like how you called your name, James Diboe.
Yeah.
You've got your direct African root that you can call on and know.
Oh,
As Michelle Caribbean, I've got to go and do BS DNA to
Yeah,
find out
yeah.
properly where I'm from.
Yeah.
There's enough people in Liverpool blessed more than the rest of this country and other countries who can tie their roots in, whether it's seamen or whatever, to their African roots.
Yeah.
And they run from it. You might go and get them no disrespect to people. I refer to these people like black white people. Yeah. Whether they light-skinned black people who can pass as white. This is not uncommon for us. We've gone through slavery, so if you know your history,
Yeah,
you know this is not uncommon. So in Liverpool, it's just paramount. Know it. So there's enough people who like say, "Oh, they're black." If you're not like the one on the organ borders with the name or something that you can see, they look white, but they got the white the name. So you think, "Oh yeah, they're the family." Some people are just walking like, as I say, passing. Yeah. I've had people pass on the side with white folk, then want to come me in the corner and say, "I'm black," you know. I said, "Have you told your work friends that?" They all go quiet. I'm like, "Why are you telling me?"
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know you're black. And I'm just like, this is part of the psychosis. And we've got a psychosis, James.
It is.
When Dr. Umar talked about it, Patricia Newton, Frances Wilson, and many, many others, and any psychiatrist, post-traumatic slavery and any trauma is a stressful thing and it impacts on us. You think just George Floyd was new? That just was a catalyst of stuff.
Repeated. Yeah.
That's just a catalyst, you understand me? So I'm sorry to drama because I get me passionate and stuff like that. But it's these things. So it's traumatized us again. It brought the trauma right back.
Yeah.
But now it is. What are you going to do about it, people? When you're going to embody you, you're scared, you're ashamed. I ain't ashamed of being African despite what people try to victimize me and make me feel like an animal. I know I am divine. You know you are divine. Many of my people know this too and will walk within it. Do you see your spirit? Everyone sees our spirit. I've no illusion. I'm not just being conceited people.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, we walk with spirit. I'm drawn on African spirit and ancestors.
That's
why now. That's why I feel the chills when talking to you because I knew you raised up my spirit again and the ancestors went, whoa, hear me.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
Props to you.
Calling and, you know, it's all about timing of everything, you know. Sometimes maybe it's not the right time and it's when your spirit is ready and you're connected and then that's a time when, you know, you're on this show today.
You know what I love, James, about, right, there's two things I love about Liverpool. Right, when someone asked me about it, I've always loved our close-knit community. There's something very special about it. It's very unique, whether you're in the African community, whatever, when the white community, whatever community you are, there's a close-knit thing about us, which is very true. When people are true, they're so true. You know, you get, but in the same phase, you get the off-key. So I say, even as white people, you get the best of white people and the worst of them. So all these people who are blatant racist and they think that they're not, look at our community, look at our institutional racism, because that reflects the comments in your workplaces and all that. Oh, look at your hair, look at your dress. And every time you do something cultural, you know, you're dressed in your clothes, suddenly people are on you, you know, all got these comments. So it's really, Now, in the same way, I've got some, because it's a port and people who've really mixed with other cultures have really grown with other cultures as white folk. You understand me? So they're the clued up ones.
Understand it.
Yeah, and I call them clued up. I'm not saying they didn't understand everything, but I say clued up because they're clued up to what's going on for themselves and they understand it when they're just dealing with people.
That's
so
right,
they found their humanity and can just deal with people as people.
Yeah.
That when you find it here, it's a unique little ball.
Very
you understand
unique.
me? And it's a beautiful thing. You understand me? In the same way, in the same like the yin and the yang, you can find crap in stuff. You know, but in that crap, there's going to be good. Yeah. Even in that beautiful African-centered stuff, there's going to be some bullshit coonery.
That's
you understand me? So it's just like siphoning that out and stuff like that. So we can go up. And all it is, the people like I like some of my so-called white friends. And you want to say, yeah, we've got white friends. We just don't say it in the same way that you used to. He's a black friend, you know. I call them my clued up white people. You understand me? Because they're clued up. I don't take any white people around that ain't clued up. I have to mix with you, but it ain't my friend.
Oh, yeah. Helps when people are clued up, of course.
Yeah, I'm just
I'm going to explain hundreds of times different things. And
so we navigate, we go through things, we talk. So even from a white perspective, they can show me where they're at and why or whatever it is. You understand me? Yeah. But they're clued up. But they're not afraid to admit things about themselves and racism.
That's
right. Me?
Yeah.
What they've had to raise themselves out of and how and what the parents have done with them and vice versa and blah, blah, blah. So they show you that it's real. You understand me? Here's the one thing that made it real for me when George Floyd, two of my white friends, one said, oh, Michelle, you might want to talk to me. Respect. Because she knew how I was feeling. I didn't. I hated every white person at the time. And I just try to be honest. When that came, I had to lock myself away because I had rage, a gun, anger, war, all these things I was trying to kill. You understand me? My next white friend was like, Michelle, I fucking hate all white people too. Sorry, language. I hate all white people too. You know, I can't believe I understand it. So she got it. You understand me? Where we were feeling. And then who comes to my door? My neighbour downstairs, because I hadn't eaten all day. It's a white neighbour. Michelle, here's some food, you know, girl. Oh, blessings me. You know, I had to kind of just put myself in check, you know, and remember humanity, good people, mash up. That doesn't make me be a coon. I have no illusion. I'm not going to go and give you no forgiveness or killing us off the planet. Trayvon and all the rest of Sandra Bland. I call the name Mazay. You understand me? Mazay. Say the name Mazay Muhammad and not ramping with it.
Yeah.
I ain't giving you no forgiveness. I'm not one of them people. I ain't giving you none. I'm one of them people to tell you, I'll kill you back. My friend, that to me, I'll kill you back. I said, you're going to kill me, I'll kill you back. Can we split it up, come and kill you? But the Marcus say, I can find me in the whirlwind. I'll scare your ass to death, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I'm coming back. If you've done me, I'm taking 5 of you. No more to be on this planet doing this no more. That's where I'm on with me peoples.
Yeah.
Not sitting back. You're not forgiving it. And even if you want to forgive it, you ain't forgetting it. So my forgiveness doesn't mean I'm going to like, okay, we'll accept it. My forgiveness is, oh, you killed me. You killed my son. Let me come take you. Let me come dead you. Police brutality. You want to come do me? I'm going to push back against you too. Every day. I've started having all these encounters with police and I'm just like, whoa, what's going on here? Because I'm pushing back. I'm speaking.
Yeah.
You know? Someone said, Michelle, don't make a complaint about this incident what happened to me recently with the police try to entice me into his van. Get in your van, I want to see your details. Shocked as hell. Yeah. Frightened. If I was a young black girl, I might have got in the van with these 2 white police. And this is just after like the girl got killed by the policeman.
Okay.
Remember the white girl got killed by the policeman or whatever. This is just after that. Freaked the hell out of me. But even my experience as a black woman, I wasn't going no van. I remember David Moore, 80s riot. You killed David Moore. Remember the guy that got run over by the police van? Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We lived there in the riots. We lived there, so that name always stuck. Who killed David Moore? But Mariah run you over in my day when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I've watched my aunties watch people all come out, get thrown out of vans. So police vans don't show no good to me. So you have 2 white policemen tell me, get in the van, you want to check my details, and scream at me. My fear alone went, hell no. But it kicked in, no. Want to go and get me people to witness it. But the man telling me, he didn't like my driving. I didn't break the law, but he didn't like me driving. Because I got the witness now to you have to go along and check my details. But this is an ugly something. I thought that's what our brothers have been going through. Every day. Every day. Shocking. And I'm sorry. I have to say sorry, bro. Because sometimes we kind of look at it like, oh, it's not, because we do it every day. We go through these things. It's bad. That thing shook me up. When I see a Mariah behind me or the van, I look twice now and see what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And that's how it's got me, shook. So I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to be shook, I'm shaking you back. Say this, man. I'm sorry. Of course. I'm one of them. So
you have to tell us about your business, Akoma Arts. Please tell us about that.
So when I say we embody who we are, Akoma Arts. That's why I called it. It's a Ghanaian word meaning heart, the heart and spirit to deal with the complexities of life, and the patience and stuff. So I wanted to draw on my Ghanaian stuff. I've got a little symbol, what means Anansi Tonton, the creativity side and stuff. And what Akoma Artist is, me as an artist, I do photography, video, digital art, and I wanted to do representations and images of me, my culture, African peoples that are positive. It's why I started in video, because I just wanted to document our community activities, different things that we do, because we like seeing ourselves, and I'm got tired of seeing them mash up images what people want to put with the propaganda about black people, whether it's Hollywood cinema, TV, news, whatever. Even when you can just record your event and play it back and see all of our faces, it feels good when you watch yourself on TV. Yeah. You understand me? Even as a little party. So it started like that. So I've incorporated that into what I do. So my background's in video, and I still used to document things and make some short documentaries like when slave ports meet. I've done a project with some young people years ago, which I'm going to show from part of the archives, Travellers to the Pool. So we're talking about our dual heritages and what we've got in Liverpool and why we are who we are and what we love about our culture and this diversity. We've done it like 20 years ago, so everyone's big now. It's really nice to see some of these things. So when I say I want to embody who I am, a lady, I'll always give shout outs to Pauline Myers. I went on a retreat and she also with a load of other black female creatives. And one of the things about being fearless, what we were talking about earlier, is to own your own narrative. But I never used to, I just always be uncomfortable about, So she showed me, own your own narrative, Michelle. We say what we want, we do what we want, and we don't want no validation. So I know it as a Pan-Africanist, you understand me? So it's trying to embody it all as who you be. So in certain ways in history, I'll be my own narrative because I know what my history, you can't tell me. But to walk in it, as you, this is a different thing. We were always scared. You'll meet a white person, you're like, I won't say that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say what I want, and if you feel uncomfortable, feel uncomfortable. Do you understand me? I don't business. I'm not here to please you. I'm here to show you who I am.
Yeah.
If some things offend you so because you want to still be a racist, well, that's going to offend you. It's the same like I have to just digress and show that, when the football come, every black person knew what was the racist backlash was going to come on our brothers, let alone that these brothers would help with the rest of the team and get you to something for 50 years what you've never had, pay due respect. But the next thing you know, we all knew what was going to come. So, not surprised. Not say it wasn't hit, but it's still here, but it just wasn't a surprise. And that's a sad thing.
Yeah, of course.
So the same when you say you want to embody, I want to do things that embody me. Show you that this is who I be, I'm cool. Picasso can do his art, you can do whatever you want. You can follow copy art as an African person, but you're Picasso. I'm just me. So whatever I produce as me should show people whatever it does, whether no matter who they are. I don't care if you're African or you're not African. You understand me? If you like what I do, whether me videos or the art or the design, cards, greeting cards, you buy them. Like, it sends some love. I'm about showing positivity and loving what I do. So if that reflects my culture, that's cool. You understand
I wanted
me?
to ask about the greeting cards, by the way. Can you give them for birthdays and Christmas, or are they? So greeting cards, just to let people understand, is it? You can get, if I wanted to give someone one of your cards for the birthday or Christmas, anything, right?
What I say with my as I call them greeting cards, and I say I leave them blank so that you can put your own message. I know people like to see things on them, but I'm really keen that people put their own stamp on things.
Yeah.
So some of my cards, people have said, "Oh, Mitchell, that would be really good for this or this for that." And even though I had intention, like, go to birthday card for like a brother or whatever, when you see the different nature of some of the cards, you might think, "Oh, that goes for this person," you know, or it could be a birthday, it could be a Father's Day, it could be whatever, you know. So I've got some elder men or whatever it is. So it's a birthday card. It could be a Mother's Day card. It could be just a thank you card. You know, I've got some abstract ones, some with imagery of people, some with abstract, some with words. But the idea is it's blank inside so that you can put your own message in, and that's what gives the twist to it.
That's better. That's even. It makes it more. You've expanded it more.
Well, you know what it is, James? It's there's differences.
Yeah.
So you've got people that like things with words in the cards, and I totally get it. My mum hates to write in cards. You understand me? Just like to there's a little line. So some people like to just read the text, you know, so I actually don't do that. I've thought about developing some more and putting some maybe quotes or some words in it, but it's what words I'm going to put in.
It's what you're going to put in, yeah.
So until then, I'll let people just have the freedom to do, you know, in that way.
And then we go back into time, I think it was about 2018, you brought Runoko Rashidi to the Methodist. That was great, that, you know, even though it was only a small bunch of people, but that's the way it is sometimes. Then obviously, when I brought in the next time.
Yes, man.
Caribbean. Now, the Caribbean Centre. Now, it was the space, and this is all things with time. Everything is time. It's like some people are just not ready. Because even when I was trying to get people, I paid for the event for Runoko Rashidi. All people got to do is turn up and sit down in the seats and listen. And we got a good turnout, didn't we?
Yes, we did. You know, and the Caribbean always draws people because it's that nostalgia of the Caribbean. Yeah. You know, what's going on, because it's the venue that we've always gone to. I've been going that since I was a kid, where the youth centres, activities, and it's nice to see things still in there. One of the things, it's always the same, James, with communities like ours, where the mentality of the people needs to still be awoken, you know. So you only get the small numbers at first, and then steadily it grows. It's always something else to draw the people in there that you need, you not necessarily for a lecture or, you know, unfortunately, whether it's music or an activity, and then have a lecture, because it always draws people in there for that thing, including food, and then they'll sit and listen to the lecture, you know, because we're just not as, woke and astute in this city. We're very much, we like to act like coons, man. I don't know what it is.
I mean, the second event, I mean, he couldn't come, you know, because obviously the pandemic happened. But I got to do a Zoom on my show anyway, Discovering, so that's like over 1 hour. And we're going back and forth. He's dealing with the global African presence and that, you know. Yeah,
and it's a good thing for me. Like I say, it's not always about the quantity. It's always about the quality that the people can, and you still engage with them, and you still talk when Runoko come. And to have lectures like Runoko grace our presence in Liverpool like it once was. You know, I remember the days when Dr. Leonard Jeffries came, you know, and that was, someone said, Michelle, Leonard Jeffries is at the university lecturing. I'm like, who's that Leonard Jeffries? I don't really know him. 2 2s, he was at the lecture, and then he was on TV with Darker South. Remember them days? The Devil's Advocate and stuff. I was like, wow. From there, I followed him. Paula Binner's things in Manchester, and it's the same thing. You might get all the so-called conscious woke, or people who are interested in self-development as an African at them things, and we all go back to our respective cities. I still love that. I don't care if it's a small number, because a small number rule the planet and spit nonsense to the planet, ugliness and hurt and pain and the rest of it to this planet, and it killing this living being. So my thing is, let the small number of people who are living right, good, and who want to live good, clued up white folk, conscious black people, because we can all live. We all know what we can live good like. Let us control the planet, and we'll work towards that. So we'll subvert everything else. We'll fight everything else. And this is where it's at. Yeah, so the systems that be, no, I be. It's that time. It's half a century. I'm coming to be. Times that are changing. And you think it ain't. But it is.
And the great thing about people like Runoko Rashidi, and they explain 3 phases of history, you just can't get stuck on just talking about slavery only. there's so much more. Because if you look at the timeline, 400 years, and we're going back, we don't even know how far we go back.
Timeline. I have to give shouts to Paul Abina. If you don't know about Paul Abina's timeline, go and get it. I've been watching him do this thing through a long time. I've got one of these small original ones. He's got these massive, large-scale timelines you can put across your room, a child's room, what takes you through the road of history. Now, let me tell you, people, and I ain't just talking to people, black people, I mean, and African people, by that I mean, anybody, you want to truly know history, go and put things into perspective, because you don't know yet. You think you do. You're just being propagandized like everybody else on the planet. See this history line and the things you've been taught. You can go and verify it for yourself, but you'll see the parallels of where African history comes, where the Ma'afa slavery is a tiny drop in our history as African people. All the achievements and Europeans within caves and whatever, Renaissance, and what we were doing, Great Zimbabwe, blah, 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 all these different things that were on the planet. Yeah. And you'll see us and you'll see the context. It's really important that people get this and get this for their children, because it's part of the awakening, James. Yeah. It's part to make people that love themselves, know themselves, and love themselves as African people, even in this city. Yeah. I advise you all to go and get one. And it's not just like plugging Paul Abina. It's really vital for your growth and your mental development. Even now, when you talk about, COVID, me mentally and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Do things to alleviate it. Go and read a lecture. Go and look at some of these people who've been trying to show you about self and how you deal with self. Even the trauma, even this disconnection, even this thing of isolation. There's ways that we've always dealt with it, and found ways.
People, there's many historians. We have Dr. Ben Yoshi Ben Yakin, Dr. John Hendrik Clark. Sheikh Anta Diop, like you said, Leonard Jeffries, and Robert Well, he's a white man from Egypt, but what he was good is he was showing the Sphinx being older, and we've got many others like that as well.
Yeah, Bo Valley's really good. English people, if you don't want to know, because you don't like to take from white people, Basil Davidson, look about Basil Davidson's, what's his name, the man who wrote Martin Bernal, Black Athena. Yeah. These people just wanted to know history. They weren't constrained by their dogma. Yeah. What says, I can't say black people done this because they're supposed to be underneath us. You understand me? It is what just facts say. It's why people say sometimes read some works by Petrie. Because when he done his stuff, he was just doing it and cataloguing it. So it lacks some of them. It's probably got some of his nonsense in it, but it's got most of information rather than some of the dogma, and stuff. So whatever it is, find it, because it helps uplift you. Even as different people on the planet, you'll actually see what history is truly about, or what does Paul say? Paul will never refer to it in some way, but not history meaning white European history, what dominates the dominant peoples who have killed people on the planet. And all it is to me, really, it's re-looking at things, James. So if you're a European and you think, like all these empire things were good, go and see it from a different perspective and see the torture. If I watched a program, Who Do You Think You Are? And it was Billy Connolly or somebody, and I couldn't believe how they glossed over this. India, how they talk so-called child bride with the paedophilic selves. Child bride, so if you said you could marry a 14-year-old or a 10-year-old, you could marry a 12-year-old. If you said she was your bride, it's still paedophilia, right? But it's what they've done in the colonies. So somebody's grandmother or great-great-great, somebody was like 12 or 13. And I'm like, in the program, they skipped over it like nothing, like a matter of fact. And I'm going, what? Pedophilia? Is this what they done? They just put these rules in to do this stuff. And I'm like, so even as a people, what do you want to undo as people? You understand me? When we say there's some practices we don't really want, as African people, not for us. It's not a part of ours that came in with invaders.
That's right.
Because many people came into Africa to invade. You talk about, the Great Pyramids and all these things and all blah, blah, blah. I'm not knocking it. But some of if you know your own history, this thing, Cleopatra and all the, the invaders' children, this is the decline of Africa.
That's right.
This is the height of Africa. This is the decline of us. Nothing has come before this.
Yeah.
So you've got to know this picture to see what it was. Even when some of these practices come into Africa and we say, no, it's all of us.
It's never been the same Africa since 1500 BC.
True.
Even though there was still a little bit of strength, but once 1500 BC came, especially during the Hyksos, just a little bit before that, and it started slowly changing then.
But it's like, how do we evolve it? We're here. People talk about African futurism, which I don't really too mess with that in that sense, because, we all say it came from Stanley in his magazines and his stuff about trying to make this concept. But all I know, I'm going to be here in the future. I know that if I don't put no black people in the future on all them films in Hollywood cinema, but we can. What is our future? What are we going to do for it? I'm not having this on the floor and on my neck.
We'll have to do a follow-up on this because unfortunately we're coming to the end of the show, Michelle.
Lord God, with nothing.
But I really appreciate you. I don't even know what time we're on now, but we've gone over it anyway.
Oh, have
we? We're having fun. It was interesting. We're learning a lot. But do you want to give your social media just before we go?
Yeah, Akoma Arts. I already digress and go all passionate. Akoma Arts. Go and search for me. AKOMA Art. You'll find me online. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, and you can hit me up on www.Akoma Arts. You'll find us on the website. There'll be information about the market to attend and what other activities I'm involved with. And from then you can see all my other social media hooks and stuff like that. So yeah, follow me. And just as a final promo, on the 24th of July on the Sunday, we're opening up the studio that we're in now on Aspen Yard.
Great.
We're opening up myself and a couple of other people who've got studios there to do a little shop drop-in. So 12 till 4. Sunday the 24th. Make sure you come down there because I've got the biggest offers going on. I got the biggest giveaways and raffles. And true, I was too sick to do Granby Market. I'm about, flogging some things in a nice discount way like I like to do for my community when I do Granby. So if you come to the studio, you'll get some nice offers. So check it in.
Well, thank you very much, Michelle. I'm your host, James Diboe, on Discovering Season 3. And we are here now, but it's been great. Thank you very much. Bless.
Bless.
So.